It's Monday, the 17th of October. I'm James Luckhurst and I'd like to welcome you to the first broadcast of the 2022 Project Edward Week of Action. For those of you new to Project Edward, EDWARD stands for Every Day Without a Road Death. It's a nationwide platform for showcasing some of the best work being done in road safety and is backed by government, the emergency services, highways agencies, road safety organisations and British businesses. It promotes an evidence-led safe system approach, the long-term objective of which is a road traffic system free from death and serious injury. In 2021, during a week of action that saw us cover more than 3,000 miles, we reached almost 9 million Twitter users with more than 60 million messages with a campaign theme of Fit to Drive. There were more than 150 articles in online news publications. We were even picked up on BBC and ITV regional television. Having first run in 2016, Project Edward was awarded a coveted Prince Michael International Road Safety Award in 2018. And last year, His Royal Highness Prince Michael of Kent joined the Project Edward road trip as it visited Kent for the launch of their Vision Zero road safety strategy. He said Project Edward continues to raise the profile of road safety and in particular the safe system. Coming together in this way to highlight new road safety measures is innovative. I wish the team well for the week of action here in the UK. It will be a significant example of what can be done to reduce risks for road users all over the world. All the team here at Project Edward are extremely grateful for the Prince's continued support. This year our theme is Changing Minds, Changing Behaviour. Each day this week our 3 road crews will be travelling the country in their fully liveried Kia EV6 electric cars. We'll be looking at some unique initiatives, talking to the people behind them and examining the challenges they're trying to address. If you see one of the Project Edward cars or you visit one of the events during the week, take a photo and post it on your social media channels using the hashtag ProjectEDWARD. We'll be giving away a brand new Nextbase dashcam at the end of the week for the best picture posted. Our first road trip report comes from Brighton, where Darren Lindsay has been to see how they're making life safer for vulnerable road users.
I'm Katie Bourne and I'm the Police and Crime Commissioner for Sussex and the Road Safety Lead on behalf of all Police and Crime Commissioners nationally.
You've got to make some decisions, so you have to prioritise your actions in the area here. So as a priority for you, what would be your number one priority in terms of the education involved around road safety, and what do you see going on today?
The one thing the public in Sussex have told me without fail over the years is how important road safety is to them, whether it's speeding through villages, but particularly those who are killed or seriously injured. For me, the disappointing fact is that nothing seems to have changed over the years. We're still seeing the same numbers of those killed or seriously injured on our roads in Sussex. And we keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. We know that's the definition of insanity. So I see today as a real opportunity for Sussex to get behind this and look at ways that we can do things differently. So you can see behind me, all the partners who have responsibilities on the roads are here, and we're sharing those best practice ideas from across the country.
What do you think we could do more of on a national basis? And have you seen any good practice that you've seen out and about in that capacity? Perhaps we could bring.
On a national basis, the first thing we need to do is to get every police and crime commissioner to put road safety as a priority in their police and crime plan. Now, I'm delighted that over 90% of those plans now have this featured. That means the chief constable in that area has to have due regard to that priority and therefore will put resources into it. And then for somebody like me, locally, we've raised people's local council tax to pay specifically for a dedicated roads unit, for example. So I'm really keen to speak to my other colleagues up and down the country. We meet on a regular basis to share those good ideas, to see where areas are doing it really well, and make sure we borrow with pride, because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want those killed or seriously injured on our roads, those numbers to reduce, but particularly those collisions where people lose their lives. There's nothing more awful than that knock on the door for a family member, from a member of the police to tell them they've lost their loved ones. Unimaginable horror, and we have to do something about this.
We've been delighted to welcome Project Edward to launch from Brighton City, and we're welcomed our partners here from the Police, Fire Service, Police and Crime Commissioner, Institute of Advanced Motorists, Sussex Safe Roads Partnership, and many others to basically explore what we're doing in Sussex and in the city to improve safety on the roads, bearing in mind the context of active travel, sustainability, and in the environment. We're looking at how we could change people's behaviour, change the road users' behaviour, and make them realise that it's everyone's responsibility to share the roads and share that responsibility to be safe on the roads.
Well, this area has always been green to an extent, and we like to think of it as the kind of lungs of the city. But it wasn't usable space before. It was very segregated and there was more space for cars. So, the more space you give cars and vehicles, the more traffic there is. So we've redesigned it so it's a lot more usable for people on bikes. I know you can see people coming through here now, a lot more walking. It's a lot more accessible and usable for people. So it just basically is a nicer, more usable space to travel actively in. Elsewhere in the city, there are other things. This is kind of a green gateway to the city, so it's unique in that sense. But we have lots of other active travel projects. For example, in the city centre, obviously that's where lots of people go shopping. So there's a scheme to widen the pavements there and improve it for cyclists as well, to make it feel like cyclists belong there and they're not just an added on. We thought about them as well. They will be part of the redesign.
I work for Brighton and Hove City Council. I work in road safety. My principal job is accident investigation. So I get involved in looking at where accidents occur, trying to make them better. I also get involved in some urban realm schemes. This, where we are now, is an example of good practice when it comes to shared space design. So in here, believe it or not, vehicles are allowed. The fastest vehicle we found is a cycle at 7 miles an hour. It used to be a major cut through for taxis. We don't get there's a major taxi rank down there, one of the main ones from Brighton. They don't come in here anymore. They rather take a more circuitous route than drive through this road.
So obviously we're in a city, and the vulnerability of road users is much broader than that. But here in wider East Sussex, we've got some fantastic roads, and of course we've got a coastline. And we have a lot of motorcyclists come and visit the county. In terms of our engagement with those motorcyclists, actually some of them are very safe road users. Let's just emphasise that, and have been riding a long time and safely. But of course we also get the speed junkies, and we get those that are just down to literally, sand the pipes and burn the rubber. So in terms of engaging with them, what we've been able to do is to have our Safe Drive Stay Alive programme and also our Safer Bikes programme as well. We encourage their free courses, we encourage motorcycle riders and pillions to come along, and we run through safe management of a road scene and also basic CPR, helmet removal and first aid, so that when people are out and about using the roads, they can help other people in the event of a road traffic collision.
We've got the 20-mile speed limits in the city, which is good. It's obviously adopting those and having our culture change so that we expect all our users to run at that kind of speed or below. But the biggest cause in the city, both in terms of drivers and vulnerable road users, is failure to look properly. And failure to look properly is a key aspect. We've got to be much more engaged in the roads. So it's making sure that when you're using the roads, you are engaged with the environment. And that's the message I'd love to get everyone in the city to take on board.
Most regional road safety stakeholders now have or are developing local Vision Zero road safety strategies. At their core is an approach called the SAFE system, which envisions a transport system free from death and serious injury. However, the SAFE system recognises that despite preventative efforts, drivers still make mistakes, and so collisions will continue to happen. The SAFE system is designed so that these collisions are survivable. Our partners at Transport Scotland have created a series of short videos to explain the SAFE system and why this approach forms the bedrock for their road safety strategy, which has an ambitious vision for Scotland to have the best road safety performance in the world by 2030. Transport Scotland's framework sets out 5 strategic outcomes that align with the 5 pillars of the SAFE system: safe road use, safe vehicles, safe speeds, safe roads and roadsides, and post-crash response. We'll be looking at a different one each day this week. Today's focus is on safe road use. Safe road users pay full attention to the road ahead and the task in hand, which means adapting to the conditions, such as the weather or the presence of other road users, travelling at lower speeds, not driving while impaired through drink, drugs, including medicines, or fatigue, and not being distracted by in-vehicle technology, such as mobile phones, entertainment systems or sat-navs, and they give sufficient room to all other road users no matter what their mode of travel. Now let's take a look at the Transport Scotland video on safe road use.
Safe road use, part of the SAFE system. Scotland's road safety framework is underpinned by the 5 pillars of the SAFE system. These pillars act as layers of protection for people who are at its centre. If one part of the system fails, the other parts will still protect us. For those layers of protection to be successful, we all must take responsibility. Safe road use is the pillar which encourages us to be mindful of safety and be respectful to others. In what ways can you help with safe road use? You can pay full attention to the road conditions and, if it's raining or icy, adapt your style of driving. You can lower your speed, especially when you are in a high pedestrian area. And if you need to pass others on the road, give sufficient room, no matter what their mode of travel. We can also all help by inspiring people to reduce car-based traffic and make healthier choices by being more active, such as walking, wheeling or cycling, or by using public transport. But if you do choose to drive or ride, stay off your mobile phone and don't drive or ride while tired or impaired through drink or drugs. This SAFE system identifies the part every one of us has to play in ensuring our long-term aspiration for Vision Zero to become a reality. Together, making Scotland's roads safer.
We now have 2 short videos that link to safe road use. The first is a video created by the South West Peninsula Road Safety Partnership. The second is from Brighton Council, from their Mind in Gear campaign. First though, let us share with you the video from South West Peninsula Road Safety Partnership. It showcases a groundbreaking camera system which uses AI to catch drivers using mobile phones and is currently being trialled in Devon and Cornwall.
Know how addictive it is for people when they hear that ping or that notification that they have to look, they have to see what it says, they have to see what it means to them. These type of offences lead to fatal and serious injury collisions. People die because people are distracted and not paying attention. If you've passed your test within the last 2 years, you've saved up for driving lessons, you've gone through all the stress and worry of the theory test, the practical test, and then you've got your mobile phone in your hand and you're captured by this device, you're going to get 6 points and a £200 fine, but also that means as a young driver, you're going to be disqualified from driving and you have to go through the whole process again.
The next video is from Brighton Council, from their Mind in Gear campaign. It featured in this morning's road trip event, attended by Darren Lindsay. The short video by local filmmaker Sarah West shows how distractions can cause dangerous driving and how simple mindfulness techniques can help keep you safe on the roads. The film was entered into the 2022 UN Road Safety Film Awards in the Smart and Safe Mobility section and won first prize.
What is that?
What? I was literally just playing football with my friends. What is the problem?
You promised me you were going to meet me.
Have I
You're not
done?
going to tell me the truth. I just don't want to know anymore.
What?
Well,
what's the problem? What's the problem?
I've got knowledge like I'm 118. I'm not someone great. I get funds from my puns in abundance, mate. Try one when you go and get redundant, mate. I jump on the nigga with 100 ways. Didn't kill it out because it's done that way. With a big smile because it's a thunder base. I run the place. I'm still taking drinks on a
bothered with this girl.
You say, but you fucked it, mate. I'm up to date.
When you're driving, where are you? Where is your mind focused? Sometimes you're not in the best frame of mind to start your journey. You may be distracted by an argument you've just had, or pushed for time.
Get out the way, mate.
And your emotions are in control, but to safely get from A to B, your mind should be right here, right now, in gear, alert and alive. So, before you set off, relax. Notice how you feel inside. Is your heart racing? Then stop. Take control. Breathe in and breathe out. And when you breathe out, sigh a little. And again. Breathe in and breathe out. This is an opportunity to try something different. To let the seat take the weight of your body. To feel the seatbelt across your chest as you breathe in and out. To invite your shoulders to drop and soften. Now, you can start the engine. On your journey there will be challenges, obstacles and situations to maneuver around safely. You can't change the red light, so release the tension from your jaw. Allow the world to move at its own pace. Notice the temptation to respond to your phone. Does it have to be right now?
I'll call him back.
When distractions send your mind spinning off in all directions, sense your breath in your stomach, your chest and your shoulders. Keep your eyes on the road and your mind in gear. You have arrived at your destination.
A key part of safe road use is not driving impaired. Stuart Lovett visited Blackpool Transport with our partners at Dtec International to see how they ensure their bus and tram drivers are not driving impaired.
Hi Ian, once again thank you for supporting Project Edward this year. We hear a lot of facts and figures, which I'm sure you're going to be able to share with us around the importance of being able to deal with driver impairment issues. But one of the things that I just wanted to touch base with you about is you hear a lot and almost zero tolerance for people thinking about drink driving. But is that the same, do you find, with people who are driving with drugs in the system?
I'm afraid to say at the moment, the figures I've seen from 2021 show that drug driving is almost as many as drink driving. 28,000 drug to 34,000 drink. I know from our conversations with all the police forces across England and Wales and Scotland that this year 2022 we'll be seeing more drug driving than drink on the government's official statistics. The police have known about this for many, many years. It's a case of having a process that now catches those people and brings them to justice. What we sadly need is much greater education that drug driving is as bad as, if not worse, from drink driving.
How are you finding then that in trying to get these messages across, the working with the police and the Home Office within the UK?
The police and the Home Office, we have an awful lot of champions. There's still a few too many people that see it as not a great problem. I've seen a recent report from August's summer drink, drug, drive, and it actually states that strategically, drug driving is the biggest problem the roads policing have in this country.
So from Dtec, do you believe then that this is still a hidden problem within this country?
Yes. I'm afraid it starts with government attitude, Home Office support to the police, more roads policing, more visible roads policing, physically being there, being able to stop the number of people they want to stop. That then needs backing up by better processing at the laboratories. Currently that's nearly 6 months. And with that, these drivers, drug drivers, are still driving for those 6 months. We're catching them time and time again. Now we need to stop that. We need them to be through the system within a month. They need to be off the road and walking. They need to be given 12 months to think about why they shouldn't take drugs and drive.
My name's Ian Hemming. I've been at Blackpool Transport for 7 years. Now we have a policy when people come on their first day, they are initially tested. Whilst they're undergoing the test, I did a couple last week, I would take them into a private area, I'd explain what our policy is, the different types of testing that we undertake, and then I get them to undertake a test themselves, and I explain the reasons why we do this. But as well as testing on their first day, we have a random testing policy where their numbers could be computerised, generated, and randomly selected to undergo a test. So we get their staff numbers before they come on duty, and we make sure they're tested before they go out. We have a policy where we would test obviously under suspicion. If someone has reported that someone has taken a substance or has seen going out drinking excessively the night before, for example. We also have a policy on alcohol where they can voluntarily ask for a test upon arriving on duty, and if they're over our limit, which is 15 micrograms of alcohol per breath below the national limit, if they're over our limit, they have the option then to go home off pay, and they can come back in the following day. We wouldn't allow this to happen day in and day out, but they have that policy in place that if for some unknown reason they're concerned, they can have this one-off.
Okay, so you have these policies here in Blackpool. Would you recommend that other employers adopt a similar kind of policy when they're trying to manage their work-related road risk?
I would, yeah, because we try to be fair to people. Everybody can have a slip, can't they? You know, and I don't know, home life, just life in general, can bring stuff on, and you do stuff that you wouldn't normally do, you know.
So how do you find that that's been accepted by the staff or by the unions here?
The union work with Blackpool Transport quite well. They have a really good relationship. I used to be on the union myself, so it's one of them. You've got to work it out, haven't you, what's best for the employee and the employer. So,
so yeah. A policy of openness is the best thing when you're talking talking across the council.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, my name's Adrian Barker. I work at Blackpool Transport. I've been a bus driver for around about 17, 18 years. At the beginning of each week, or daily, whichever one that they are working on, they'll generate names through the EPM system that we use.
And what is the EPM system?
EPM system is where we log lots of things like mileage and drivers and the information about the drivers themselves. And what that does then, it kicks out, let's say for example, 10 names. You being one, me being another, will be pulled at the start of our duty before you go out and tested for drink or drugs as a random subject.
Yeah, I'm Dennis Hardikevich. I'm the operations manager, one of 3 operations managers based at Blackpool Transport.
How are you finding that trying to tackle driver impairment issues?
We're in 2022. The society we're in, there are plenty of things out there, be it alcohol, be it drugs, that people get involved in. And I guess public transport companies are no different to that. So you have to have the processes and procedures and the active buy-in to address those issues.
Okay, and obviously by raising awareness of what you're doing here as a public sector body, that can help then to get that into the private sector about making sure that they're following good practice.
Yes, and again, I think the organisation tends to be a learning organisation, so it learns from what others are doing as well, looks at how it can be implemented if it delivers results, and delivers accordingly.
So, Project Edward has been in Blackpool today on one of the first legs of the Northern Road trip. What we've heard today is how those policies and procedures across Blackpool Council are actually making not only the staff, but actually the citizens of Lancashire safe and free of people who might be driving under the influence of either drink or drugs. So it's been very interesting. We've talked to the operations manager, the health and safety manager. We've also talked to one of the drivers. And one of the interesting things that I think we found here is just how well received this has been by the staff, by the unions and by the management, and they're actually showcasing this as good practice. We've also spoke to the managing director of Dtec, which supplies the drug detection equipment, and seen an example of just how easy that is. It's not an invasive procedure, it's very quick and very easy for businesses to operate a system that they can bring in their health and safety policies and link it all in to keep everybody safe and incident free on our roads. So it's been an interesting and valuable experience, and we thank everybody involved today for all their help.
That was Stuart Lovett reporting from Blackpool. Now, Project Edward wouldn't be possible without the support of our valued partners and sponsors. We're very proud to announce that for 2022, our platinum sponsor is National Highways, and I'm pleased to be joined by Jeremy Phillips, who's Head of Road User Safety, about what road safety means to National Highways and why they're supporting Project Edward.
Well, I think quite famously, National Highways has safety as its number one imperative, and that includes our approaches to road user safety as well as our own staff and our supply chain. And I think the thing that kind of encompasses and encapsulates the approach that we take to achieve that number one imperative is that we are a safe system organisation. We adopted safe system approaches back in 2015, and in fact we've spent the last year kind of taking another look at that, refining our thinking about what safe systems approaches looks like in an organisation like ours, and what our role is in a system that includes more than just our core business of providing safe roads.
Let's focus on the road user as part of the safe system, and in particular the need for compliance. So how important is that?
That's an interesting term to use in this context, isn't it? Compliance. But you're absolutely right. The road user is integral to a safe system approach. The safe system declares that road safety is a shared responsibility amongst multiple stakeholders, and our customers are a key part of that. Compliance, I would describe as the most basic common denominator of behaviour on a network like ours. So we absolutely require compliant behaviour as a minimum standard rather than the be all and the end all for road safety. I would consider it to be the starting point upon which we can build much greater levels of safety, because if we don't have compliance with the basic rules and regulations that govern safety for us all, then we're always starting on the back foot. So my approach to compliance is to encourage people to adopt that minimum standard of behaviour and then build on that to see what other behaviours and other choices we can encourage people to make that will improve their safety and the safety of others further.
What do you know about the risk-taking and offending drivers that use your network?
It's an interesting time to address that question, actually, because we've just commissioned a report, for example, on single vehicle collisions on the network, and single vehicle collisions are the things that you might consider to be kind of unforced errors. So there's no other factors involved other than the drive of the vehicle, the highway, and no other interaction with any other vehicle on the network. So it kind of brings into stark relief some of those behaviours which are complicit either in the collision happening or the severity of the outcome. And a couple of things that we've discovered in that research you might find surprising. So still very high prevalence of people, whether they're drivers or other vehicle occupants, not wearing a seatbelt in the vehicle. And there's a very high correlation between the survivability of those incidents and the wearing of seatbelts. So if you're looking for quick wins, just following that one basic rule, which 98% of the population do seem to follow, but that 2% is actually well overrepresented in the more serious collisions that we've got. But also the number of single vehicle collisions that are kind of predetermined by losses of concentration. The suggestion perhaps that the driver isn't completely present in the moment leading up to the collision occurring. So, drifting across the carriageway, possibly being fatigued, influenced still by drink and by drugs, sleepiness, and in-vehicle distraction, whether that's coming from passengers or from in-vehicle technologies. All of these things are really basic, well understood, well-worn things to understand and to deal with. Relatively quick wins because they require really minor adjustments in people's mindset and their willingness to commit to the driving task when they're actually driving. That's all that we're asking for, is for people to commit to the task for as long as the vehicle's in motion. Relatively simple, pretty quick win.
Simple question, Jeremy. Why are you supporting Project Edward?
Well, we really like the fact that Project Edward is an entirely collaborative exercise. It reflects our belief that we can't do this alone, and also it reflects that safe system philosophy that actually casualty reduction is a shared responsibility across multiple stakeholders. And Project Edward is a really good kind of showcase for that kind of activity in practice.
Well, we've got a packed week of action, Jeremy. What are you most looking forward to during the coming days?
I think, it's always good to see, I'd say good, it's always inspiring actually to see really good innovation, good practice and collaboration happening on such a large scale across a lot of organizations with one single purpose in mind, and that's to reduce road trauma. So it's that kind of approach to deliver that I think is going to deliver some really tangible and sustainable benefits. And listen, I can only commend Project Edward for providing a focus and a showcase for all that hard work.
That was Jeremy Phillips from National Highways. Time now to hear from two more of our Project Edward 2022 sponsors. Here's Ian Lewin, Managing Director of Dtec International, who provide drug and alcohol testing services and equipment for safety critical employees, as well as all 43 police forces in England, Wales and Scotland. Then we have Colin Patterson, Head of Marketing at Drivetech from the AA, a world leader in fleet risk and driver safety management, including driver training. Drivetech is also the UK's largest provider of driver offender retraining courses.
Hi, I'm Ian Lewin from Dtec with the drug wipe device, and we are proud to once again be involved with Project Edward to help educate on the dangers of drug driving and its ever-increasing prevalence in our society and on our roads. Good luck, Project Edward.
Hello, I'm Colin Patterson from Drivetech, and I just wanted to say we're delighted to yet again be a sponsor and supporter of Project Edward in 2022. It's a great campaign platform, and the spirit and message around every day without a road death is one we wholeheartedly support in our own mission to deliver driver training to both private motorists and to fleets. It's a great campaign week in September, and the build-up is also just as interesting and engaging with podcasts, online content, and I hope that we can participate along with lots of other stakeholders and participants in the week in September. We just wanted to wish the campaign well, and we'll certainly be supporting it as much as we can. Thanks very much.
Colin Patterson, and before that, Ian Lewin. Project Edward is known for the vast social media reach it achieves each year. Last year, with the help of our partners and supporters, we reached almost 9 million individual Twitter users, with a growing following on Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram. Here's our very own Neil Dewson-Smith with an update on the social media story at the end of day one.
Okay, good evening everybody. It's been a fantastic day on social media. Lots of messages coming through from many of our partners and sponsors and supporters, and as ever, it's always a great day, and we've had lots of support. But we've picked out 3 tweets today that we'd like people to just be aware of. Our 3 favourite ones of today. Number 3 is from Learn to Live down in the southwest of England. They just focused on something that is really important to us at Project Edward, which is the delivering of specialist courses to younger drivers, because we're very much a part of the lifelong learning belief at Project Edward, and that even when you've passed your test, there's still a lot more to learn, and Learn to Live and many other similar courses around the country provide those courses which are invaluable to younger drivers. Number 2 is a tweet from our friend Marie Biddulph at the National Highways. She's out today with the DVSA enforcement teams and the Central Motorway Policing Group, and they'd stopped an abnormal load vehicle that was moving outside of its permitted hours, and then uncovered a whole host of other offences, which is the ethos of what Project Edward is about: safe vehicles being used safely on the roads, and with Safe Roads Use for the Safe Systems pillar today, that was a great message to put out there. But number 1 in our list today is from the Road Safety GB team in the North East. They've put together a video package with Linthorpe Community Primary School, where some young children at the primary school who are not yet drivers but clearly road users of one form or another were sharing their road safety messages about what they thought drivers could do to stay safe and keep the children safe on their way to schools, which was a great message, and we really liked it. But that's all for now from the social media side of things, so thank you very much.
That was Neil Dewson-Smith. Now, it's thought that around 20 million of us drive for work to some degree. Driving for Better Business is a government-backed national highways programme to help employers in both the private and public sectors to reduce work-related road risk, control the associated costs, and improve compliance with current legislation and guidance. Here's campaign manager Simon Turner to talk about how they're collaborating with road safety partnerships to help them engage local businesses.
This is the first in a 5-part series that we're running throughout the Project Edward Week of Action. We want to show how driving for better business can help councils and road safety partnerships to engage local businesses on the subject of road safety and road risk management. During the week, we're going to look at what the Driving for Better Business campaign does. We'll look at how we've collaborated with the Kent and Medway Casualty Reduction Partnership to engage local businesses there. We'll look at the material that we've created for use in Kent and Medway, and we'll look at other free resources that your local businesses can access. And then finally, we're going to look at how you can start working with us to engage local businesses in your area. Why might you want to engage local businesses? Well, a huge amount of your local traffic during the week will probably be made up of people driving for work, whether they're in trucks, vans, company cars, or maybe even their own cars. According to government statistics, around 40,000 KSIs each year involve someone who is driving for work. And if you include commuting in that figure, it rises to over 60,000. Also in these statistics is the fact that just 1 in 5 of the casualties are the people who are driving for work. The rest, around 80%, are made up largely of vulnerable road users. Perhaps you'd like businesses in your area to be able to demonstrate results similar to these. If you do, we might be able to help. These are all firms that are registered with Driving for Better Business and who are keen to share the story of how they reduced collisions and achieved other business benefits too. Our mission is to improve the levels of compliance for all those who drive or ride for work by demonstrating the significant business benefits of managing work-related road risk more effectively. We share case studies just like these, and we have many others like them too. We also have many free tools and resources to help businesses in your area make similar improvements. Driving for Better Business is not a consultancy. It's a free programme from National Highways. We work very closely with the Health and Safety Executive and with the DVSA. regional road safety professionals and stakeholders, as well as commercial partners, to help raise awareness and improve knowledge. The Driving for Better Business programme won a Prince Michael International Road Safety Award in 2021 and has won the Fleet News Product of the Year Award 2 years running for resources that we've created to give away free to businesses. And they're the very same resources that you can also use to distribute to local businesses to help them improve driving standards and vehicle roadworthiness. In the next video, we're going to look at how we've collaborated with the Kent and Medway Casualty Reduction Partnership to help them improve road risk management among their local businesses.
Simon Turner from Driving for Better Business. And that's the end of the programme and the first day of our 2022 Week of Action. Thank you to everyone who helped with today's events, our partners, and to you for watching. Don't forget to follow our social media channels. We're on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram and YouTube. Like and share our messages if you can, and post your own road safety messages, adding the hashtag ProjectEDWARD. Also, check out the Project Edward podcast, Are We There Yet?, which you can access on the Project Edward website or wherever you normally get your podcasts. Tomorrow, the road trip will be visiting Oxford, Rugby and Leyland in Lancashire. I hope you can join us for another packed programme. But for now, from me, it's goodbye.